Hi everyone, Evie here, the Greek goddess of great reading. Today I'll be reviewing Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, The Sword of Summer by Riordan. Magnus Chase has seen his share of trouble. Ever since that terrible night 2 years ago when his mother told him to run, he has lived alone on the streets of Boston, surviving by his wits, staying one step ahead of the police and truant officers. One day, Magnus learns that someone else is trying to track him down, his uncle Randolph, a man his mother had always warned him about. When Magnus tries to outmaneuver his uncle, he falls right into his clutches. Randolph starts rambling about Norse history and Magnus's birthright, a weapon that has been lost for 1,000 years. The more Randolph talks, the more puzzle pieces fall into place. Stories about the gods of Asgard, wolves, and Doomsday bubble up from Magnus's memory. But he doesn't have time to consider it all before a fire giant attacks the city, forcing him to choose between his own safety and the lives of thousands, hundreds of innocents. Sometimes, the only way to start a new life is to die. So if any of you have been following me for a while or have gone back and watched some of my old videos, you'll know that last summer I read the Percy Jackson series by Riordan, and I had really great things to say about that series because I love Greek mythology and I kind of like picking apart at Greek mythology because I know so much about it. But it was nice to read Magnus Chase because I didn't know anything about Norse mythology, so I really had to read and pay attention in order to get all the pieces to fit together. Because let's be honest, the only bit of Norse mythology any of us know is because of the media, and it's the Thor movies, the Marvel movies. So we know Thor, we know Odin and Loki, and we know that Ragnarok is essentially Doomsday. But besides that, I didn't know anything else going into this book. So it was really cool to learn about a new mythology that I have no idea about. This is also another sort of middle grade book, but it's almost reading like Harry Potter. Harry Potter was considered a children's book, but not really, whenever the literary agent of J.K. Rowling was trying to get a publishing company to buy the rights to the story. So they sold it to Bloomsbury, which is a children's publishing company. But Harry Potter, as we all know, is not really a children's book. It's not only a children's story. And this is the same thing, I think, with Rick Riordan's books. They are children, the main characters, or they're young tweens or teens, 14, 15 years old, but they experience so much tragedy and so much adventure, and just a lot of stuff happens in these books. And in this book, so much stuff happened to Magnus even before the story really started. He already had a tragic backstory. So I think that this book, this new series, is going to be just like one of those books that it's not just for kids one age, because I'm 24 and I read it and I really liked it. And same thing goes for Percy Jackson, for Harry Potter. It's a book you're going to reread over and over again as you get older because it's just fun and it has no age limit. I really liked all the characters that came into play in the book, especially all the demigods, or Enherji, I think it's pronounced. It's essentially the mortals who have died in combat who go to Odin's court, Valhalla, which is depicted as a hotel in this book, which is kind of cool. So that's where Magnus ends up going when he dies and becomes a part of the of Odin's army for when Ragnarok occurs. And that's what Magnus throughout this whole book is trying to stop, is Ragnarok, with the help of his friends. So he has a Valkyrie friend, he has a dwarf friend, an elf friend. He has a sword that is really cool and interesting, and I'm sure you guys will find it funny when you read the book. I think I will continue with this series because I wanted to go back in Rick Riordan's books and get the Kane Chronicles, because that's about Egyptian mythology, and I really love Egyptian mythology. Ever since I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! As a child, I had a strange fascination with that culture. But this mythology is also really cool, so I will be continuing on with the next book in the Gods of Asgard series. I believe it is called Thor's Hammer, which of course we knew Thor was going to come in eventually. And his hammer happens to be the plot point, the major plot point of this next book. So if you guys haven't already, you really should get on it, because this book has been out for a year almost. Pick up Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard #1, The Sword of Summer. You won't regret it. The next book I'll be reviewing is The Hunt by Stacey Cade. It is a sequel to another book in the Project Paper Doll series, so I haven't read the first book. I started reading this one. I'm a little lost, so it might not be the best review, but I'll give it a shot. So look for that review coming to you guys soon. My website, Twitter, and Instagram are linked in the bio below. Hit subscribe if you guys like what you see and want to see more videos by me. I'm Evie, the Greek goddess of great reading, and until next time guys, keep reading.